have to appoint anybody to vote for anybody. The approval of the minutes of 10:25. I don't know whether everybody got
read
those or
them.
not, and I reviewed them. I didn't see anything that needed to be changed or added to. If anybody has anything, I would welcome their comments.
They looked accurate to me. I didn't see anything that was,
All right. When anybody feels comfortable, they could make a motion. I'm open to a motion.
I moved that we accept the minutes as written.
Seconded.
We have a second. Any comments or anything on the minutes? If everybody is okay, all those in favor of the minutes as submitted? Aye. Those opposed? That passes. But I would like to just add one thing to the agenda. The meeting schedule for next year. We like to get those presented to the town clerk so that they can be basically displayed, and that would be our regular meetings for next year. I'm gonna pass this around and,
Oh, everybody has one.
oh, everybody has one,
Yeah,
oh,
everybody
okay.
has one.
So I'm
We
just,
We just need a motion.
Oh,
to add
okay.
to- And I'm gonna add it to new business, so.
okay. Yeah, okay, then if, just wanted to add that so we could add it to new business, and we'll bring that up a little bit later in the meeting. Could you make a motion to
I
add that?
motion that we add that to the agenda.
And I need a second?
And
for
I
that?
second that.
All right,
Thanks.
and all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
And we'll put that under new business. Um, The meeting schedule. Okay, thank you. The chairman's report, I'd just like to say that we had that we jointly worked with the Business Association on their expo, and Sue was there, and I was there, and Sue was very involved in it, and I thought it really looked very good. They did a nice job, had a lot of vendors there to take and give presentations. Banks were there, state agencies were there, and I thought they did a great organizational job, and having it set up here in the gym, and then having basically some presentations made in one of the classrooms, and they did a great job, and I give
Yeah,
between.
they did good. They're talking about doing it every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't get tiresome and stuff, but doing some of the workshops on just a workshop basis. The score, and groups want the score. They have a list of businesses that want some score seminars. And then I did the Connecticut Tourism, and they have some workshops that they'd like to come and work with us on, first setting up a town page and getting that so that we get a lot of attention and such, and then also so that businesses can set up their individual business pages.
And,
So-
no, I just thought it was just very, very well done. It looked good. And I
Very
thought,
professional.
Yes, very professional looking. And I think that we could certainly be proud of being a part of that. And I think if we can, 2 years or 3 years or whatever, everybody feels like they'd like to do that again, I would certainly
Well, and they
like
had,
to do that.
we had the president of the Haddam EDC came at the very end because it was the end of her workday and stuff. But she expressed a lot of interest, and so I'm hoping that when they do it the next time, maybe we've got that coalition built very strongly, and we could do it as a regional
Yes.
and such. And I think that would give more exposure, more people, and on a side note, all the vendors who go around to all kinds of places and do presentations and stuff, we're taking pictures of our camera systems and our screens, and they were just besides themselves on the technology in this building, and what a pleasure it was to come and present here.
Yeah, well, I heard just good things.
Yeah.
But, I think the presenters were pleased. Obviously, we'd always like to have more people who are taking advantage of it, but I think for a first time out of the box here, It was very well done and well received by both,
Yeah.
the people who were looking to start businesses and also
And sometimes it's not more, it's the quality.
Yeah, and it
And-
had
and
quality.
I did both my daytime job and for EDC, and I got good leads for EDC, and then I got a couple leads for business and stuff too, so, you know, it was definitely quality
Yes.
people that were there to really take advantage of it and
Yeah,
stuff, so.
yeah, I thought it was nice. And it was, some of it was financing, and basically, but it was kind of interesting, and I think they did a nice job with it, and I think that we can, basically, hopefully we can go on with that. And then afterwards, they had, cocktails down at the Gelston House, which was a nice way to end it and a nice way to communicate with everybody who was there. And that's where we met their new chairman of the Haddam EDC. And she was certainly very interested in working with us. And so we're interested in working with her. And so I think that we made a good contact there. And I think that we're going to see about having a joint meeting between our two, and I may just invite them over here, and because theirs always meets up in Higginham, which is a little hike for us, but also just like to show them this facility of what we have here too. And so I'm going to take and contact her. I'm going to see if there's a month when we could get together on a joint meeting and whichever, whether it's over there, it's over here, but I'm going to invite them over here and see if they would like to
That would be good.
join us in a meeting over here. I think that I have one other item that is going to be the holiday doors and that sort of thing, but I think I'll bring that up under new
Back-
business.
To that meeting, Bob?
Pardon me?
I don't know who schedules the use of this room or the facility for EDC
Yep.
functions, but I think they should be thanked, you know, and we certainly are grateful for
Yeah.
having this facility,
Yeah.
you know, because it's outdoors of our normal course of business, so
Yeah. No, and I think it is. I think
if
that,
we could send a thank you, I think it'd be the right thing to do.
yes,
Agreed.
yes. I think that when we get down a little further on the agenda here, there's a few thank yous that need to go
Okay,
out to
all
the
right.
people.
So, stick 'em together?
Right.
Yeah,
All right,
And let's see. I think that I don't have anything else that we've been to do with just the chairman. The EDC administrative position, I think that we have not opened those yet. Don, and if you were willing to work on that committee, and I think we'll be sitting down with Emmett shortly, and we'll go through what's here, and we'll see if there is something that
kick it off again.
yeah, that interests us, and
Yeah.
we'll go from there. And so I'm hoping that maybe in the next week or two we can get this committee together and take a look at the applications that we got on the table here. The Goodspeed Landing, the Old Town Hall site. Emmett, would you just like to brief us on where we are with that?
Whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, whole bunch. All right, great.
Main Street, which some of you might or might not be familiar with, they're a contact group for development. And they've worked around Connecticut, a number of places. Suffield was one of them that I grew up in. And they've got a project going up there. And they reported here, came in and did a presentation, what is it, 6 months ago now?
Yeah, something like that.
And I kind of took a look at it and came to the conclusion there was some value there, and that they could introduce this site to a collection of people that might not otherwise see it. And that was part of the thing, and then they had a lot of support features they could offer. And they've gone ahead and signed up for that. We approved it. We found the money. It came out of the maintenance fund. But the maintenance fund is a great source when all else is failed. And so they are on board with us now, and we'll see what the revitalization committee does with them. That $400,000 I mentioned with MCRC, we haven't had a meeting. We haven't given any of it away.
I have talked to 3 or 4 different businesses.
It is sitting there waiting for somebody that needs to expand, enlarge, improve what they're doing.
It's still here.
Yeah,
And the whole purpose of it
Yeah.
is to support businesses and operations that are somewhat marginal and might not be able to get money in a conventional way. So this is not something where you've got to come in and have great credentials and have all sorts of support and all sorts of resources behind you.
I'll,
That's not what they're looking for. You can
I'll
go to a
talk
bank.
to
Gee,
them
we-
again.
Yeah.
Gee, maybe we'll qualify for
That's
that one.
right. I'll talk to the people again, because they're people that really have base businesses and really need to expand. And when I talk to them, they're very interested, but like everybody, they're so busy running their business, and it's like, stop, just,
They'll
you know,
work with you. They'll help you
yeah.
do all the paperwork.
Put it together.
I'll send the paperwork. I have
Yeah,
the paperwork.
I've read it, I went and looked and read everything on about it, so,
And you know, it doesn't have to be a big one. It could be $30,000, it could be 10,000.
yeah, you can
It could be
portion it
400,000.
out, yeah.
And they gotta get that all out by the end of the year.
What kind of money is it? Is it straight grant? Low interest?
No, these are low, these are loans.
Interest?
I think it's
They're
like
loans.
4% or something.
Yeah,
At an attractive rate?
Middlesex County,
I think it's like 4.
the Regional,
A little over prime.
something, Revitalization Commission.
yeah, it's, what is it, R,
And, you know,
MCRR.
companies like
yeah,
North
MC
Yeah.
gone through us.
Middlesex County
Carlson Public,
Revitalization.
which haven't done quite so well.
Yeah.
Corporation, I think.
But there's any number of companies that have, big and small, that have made use of it.
Good.
We just put out
MCRC.
$300,000 for an operation. They were gonna be in Saybrook, they're coming up to Deep River now, the factories. And basically, they have a line of cosmetics coming out of Europe. And these guys are the ones that teach you how to tattoo eyebrows
Uh-huh.
and that sort of thing. But they're setting up a supply center and an educational center where you can send people in who need to learn how to do that sort of thing. And they offer the training and the background and the support for it.
Interesting.
They're gonna have quite an operation over there. They're looking pretty good. And that's the big, that's the $300,000.
Maybe you talk to
there.
Wow.
So it's out there. The brownfield for Bisbee Landing,
Yeah.
and we took a look at it, we got Tim Majak, and I can't remember what his company is, Envro or something, or,
Yeah, I just know it was Tim and Majak
but he
there.
was part of the committee, and we talked to him about it, he said, you know, he said, that was a state garage to begin with.
Yeah.
Tell you something. And you've got your PCBs, you've got your lead, you've got your asbestos, which everybody's got, buildings that old.
Yep.
But it's expensive to get rid of it. He said, we checked it out, so it's pretty good, there's some, what do you call it,
PCBs?
arsenic.
Arsenic.
Arsenic?
And there's
Yeah.
arsenic all over this town.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a discussion about whether it's just background that's there naturally, or is it actually some contamination that was introduced. So there's some stuff to look at with it. State of Connecticut came out with grants for brownfields. And Tim said, you know what? It's perfect. Got in touch with some people he knew. Said, is there a fit here? They said, well, run it by us. Sounds good. On the 31st, we submitted a $200,000 application for a cleanup grant.
Yep.
To go with that property.
Nice.
Yeah, and people, let me tell you, they pulled a lot of rabbits out of hats to make that happen. It was fast. It had to be, decision's gonna be by December.
Great, great,
So this is not something where we're gonna be sitting around until June to find out if it happens.
great.
So that's a good.
Yeah, that's a real good.
That's a real good, and that'll do a big, a good percentage of
Yeah,
that
a chunk of
problem
it.
down
And I
there.
think we've got a good shot at it.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
forget how much, a couple of $1 million in the available funds. We're looking for 200,000.
Yeah, and I think what you brought up, you know, it was a state facility, and that pollution that's there didn't come from the town of East Haddam. That was there.
They get a responsibility.
Yeah.
The other thing is they were looking for something shovel ready. We're shovel ready.
Right.
And that puts us ahead of a lot of other operations that might be applying. There's one other, I forget, Hebron or one of them. Oh, we're gonna try to put something together. No,
Yeah.
We got something.
Yeah, no, that's
Makes a
great.
difference. What do we got here? Just the rain that came down and all the damage that it did. Best estimate right now is $3.7 million.
Wow,
We got hit about as hard as anybody, maybe harder than most. 8 inches recorded up in Moodus, up here. 6 inches down where I was recorded.
Yeah.
And it all came down in about 3 hours. I mean,
I know.
you saw it, you were there.
Did you
I
live that?
witnessed it.
And
I
big
shoveled
for
it.
us, we've got Bonfoy, where that salt truck tipped over last winter.
Yep.
And I think killed all the vegetation on the hillside, ruined the roots certainly on it, and we had a terrific slide down into 149 there.
Yeah.
At the same time that the theater was getting wiped out, and 82 was getting hammered and clammed up there.
Yeah.
And that's why they closed the bridge.
Yeah.
They just didn't want a lot of people coming over, who couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
But the Bonfoy is a big one for cleaning up. Hemlock Valley, we've got it closed right now. And when you go down, I'm trying to think what the name of the family there, you get the little bridge across the brook, about halfway down the road.
On the dirt part?
No, this is on Hemlock Valley.
Oh, okay, that's Scully. Scully's right there.
And just below that, if you look, the guardrail is a quarter of the way off.
Yeah.
And I've been told that that was a snowplow last winter, that it wasn't the rainstorm. And I've asked Beth to really get that checked out, see if we can get it reopened. But from the look of it, you don't really want anybody on that road. It's dangerous. And then needless to say, Neptune Avenue. And they've got that stabilized, putting rock into it, so it's not gonna get a whole lot worse. But the best estimate is about 10,000 cubic yards of material got blown out and down the river, down the brook. A couple of big culverts under it. Best guess is the debris out of the woods, just something jammed it, plugged it up, it filled up, and boom, off it went. Nice glacial till, nice polished fish-sized rocks, like a stack of marbles, and once you push it, it's gonna go. And that's gonna be at least $500,000, if not more, to replace. And a very big project.
Is there a way to engineer it? Obviously, this is a no-brainer question, so that it doesn't occur again. Obviously,
With the
that's,
box culverts, big box culvert, so if anything that comes out, it'll go through it. It's the only way to handle it. Really be sure that.
so it's gonna be an improvement, not just a rebuild.
And the fill is not gonna be, your sand pit,
Yeah.
back in thirties, that last one out in 1938. I happened to sit, and I can't think what her name is, she's in the senior center, senior, whatever club.
Okay.
And I sat with her at dinner, and she's telling me she was 16 years old in 1938, and that blew up.
Oh, really?
And
She
gave
knew
me
it, huh?
the whole story of what it was all about, and what she saw, and what it was like.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
And so,
Yeah.
that
No,
was kind of neat to get that second version of the same problem.
Yeah, it happened in 1938. Well, it's been there a long
Yeah.
time then, that's for sure.
Well, this next one's gonna last longer, we're gonna build it, and they're using big aggregate, really rough, I don't know what you call it, it's like.
Well, so you want some,
Riprap.
yeah, yeah, it's
But
really
it's
riprap,
massive.
but it's something so that when you crush them, you're gonna be crushing probably
And
6
they've
or
got
6 inches.
fingers that hold together, they lock together, they're
Yeah.
not gonna just
Yeah.
be like a pile of marbles and just take
That
them.
means it's going through a crusher in order to do that.
And along with that, we had 17 miles of gravel roads that washed out, 2 to 4 feet each. They're gonna be completely rebuilt. And they're working on that right now. And Robbie Road lost that culvert up towards the end. And 10 feet of it just disappeared. Was that a 3-foot culvert? Now it's a 4-foot.
Yeah, probably was a 3 in
Yeah.
there. And
Exposed electrical wires. And the whole thing was put in back and they just buried wire.
Yeah.
They didn't encapsulate it, they didn't put it into.
you know, there's never any conduits in those days. It was just, everything was direct burial.
And I go up there and look at it, and here's a half a dozen wires, big around as an inch. Just going through, I asked the power company, so what's in it? They said 13,000 volts. All I could think of was Lakeshore out to Lake Hayward,
Yeah.
and the kids jumping rope with the electrical wires.
Fire. Okay. I'll bet there's not 13,000 out there though.
Yeah.
They're looking,
Jump higher,
they look
jump
like they
higher.
got 220 out there, they're lucky.
All it takes is somebody with a generator who hooks it up wrong.
Oh, yes, yes.
Lights it up.
Yes.
But anyway, so that's kind of where we stand with all that.
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting. We're putting the RFP together on the property down there, and some debates about exactly what it should look like and just exactly when it should go out. And we've got Tim working with us on that and really advising us on just how to handle this to get the best presentation.
Okay.
And I want it all sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I don't want to see people dropping out. I want
Yes.
everybody still on board.
Yeah, we want as many interested parties as we can.
Hopefully Main Street brings us a few. We've got a couple already.
Yeah.
And got a great location.
Yeah. Any feeling about the RFQ with the RFP? Any?
It's pretty much together now. It's really more a question of when, the timing, just how do we want to put it out?
Oh, okay.
Do we want to wait and see if we get this $200,000 grant, so that's included with it?
Yeah.
Just how do we want to handle that?
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, obviously, I think it would be great, the sooner the better, to get that thing on the street. And
I wanted it gone last week.
yeah, and also just to see somebody start to see what they're going to do. And because I mean, it's going to be, they're got to come up with what the proposal is, and then the community's got to take a look at it and see if this is anything they want with whatever, obviously, developer, the Board of Selectmen do, and go from there.
Give it forward to people, it's their land.
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
end up with this gorgeous garden.
Yeah.
It'd make a great spot for a garden.
And,
Oh.
and pretty benches.
Yeah.
Pretty benches and
Yeah.
umbrellas and,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and taco bars. Lots of taco bars.
Got to make a buck somewhere here. That's, but all right. Well, thank you, Emma. I think that gives us a little update on the Goodspeed site, and then also what's going on in your office over there, and to take and see the amount of work that has to be done by Public Works or everybody else around here.
That's getting in the way of everything, I'll tell you. And that has to be done.
Yeah, no, not much choice. You got to put the roads together, and they got school buses and everything else on these roads, so you're gonna have to work on that one, no doubt. Sue, the tourist committee.
Fall weekend's a wrap. I asked again for Julia to get me an invoice, and she said, Emily who did it, she says, oh, we'll settle up with the paper. So I'm like, does that mean I'm not getting an invoice? Does that mean how we're doing it? So again, I did it again this week, so
Okay.
I'll, again,
All right, yeah, because I'd like to obviously get
yeah, we
that cleaned up,
obviously, yeah.
so we know exactly where we stand financially on this,
Yep.
and I can't really close this out unless we know
Yeah,
what.
and then, holiday doors, under that same
Oh,
tourism committee,
okay,
is that we
okay.
wanna go with that one?
I'd like to do that under new business if
Okay.
we could. On the fall weekend, though, I'd like to do is to send out a couple of thank you letters. We got a nice letter from the Essex Steam Train, and they were very happy with the way it went for them. And they said they were extremely impressed with the how welcoming the businesses in East Haddam were to their passengers and,
Nice.
and guests. And they said that people came back from being up in our businesses and along Town Street there, and the Gelston House,
And I did put one in the paper from all of us as the
Yes.
EDC, thanking the residents in the town for being such a
yeah.
provider. So I did take care of the public one for us.
Yeah.
Now we just need the private one.
Yeah,
So-
just and I thought it would be nice if we sent something down to Essex Steam Train.
And I got
because-
Julia Balfour, Essex Steam Train, East Haddam News,
Yep. Also wanted to send one over to Shagbark. Shagbark was very nice.
I think that Shagbark, all of our event people probably we should send one to and just
Okay.
thank them for being participants in it.
Well, they actually supplied all the firewood
Right,
for the
right,
for
and
the
then we
fires.
also need to do, the Rotary for
The
Lions, or the Lions, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
the Lions.
the Lions for the,
Yeah, letting us utilize
for
that.
the, yeah, and such, we need to make sure that we thank the fire department, although the Lions Club was like, why you guys got the fire department here? And we're like, we'd rather be safe than sorry, but we still need to thank those guys, cause they sat there for.
Oh, no, and it was very nice. And also the fellow from Public Works, he was the What's his name? Is it supervisor, Steve is?
Steve Hedler?
Yeah. What's his title?
He's a superintendent.
Superintendent of highways?
I call him a supervisor.
Okay, superintendent. But he was extremely helpful and, in order to take and get basically anything I needed for traffic controls and cones and all
Cones
that
and all that stuff that we, yeah.
And so that was really good, and also wanted to send off a letter to Connecticut Landmarks. That was one of those things where I think we're improving our relations there.
Yeah, it was a good PR.
Yeah, it was good PR on their part and a good PR on EDC's part to put that together and start to work on our relationship here.
Well, and like I say, I think we should just send one to all of the events that participated, because they kind of went, I mean, the Gillette Castle thing, that really went crazy for them on that, that Sunday. They had over 425 people showed up for their walk that they thought they were gonna have 100. They had to shut the gates at the park, and they condensed the walks and put extra people on and took care of everybody and stuff, but they thought they would go from like 2 to 3:30, and they ended up 2 to 5, and so it was, they had 1,200 hits on their website about it and stuff, so. So that's Gillette Friends,
Yeah, no, it was very impressive to take and see, that's for sure. That it was just a very successful weekend. When you have 200 and 250 people at these different events.
yeah.
And the cemetery tour did very, very well, and with that kind of numbers there, it was pretty impressive, that's for
They
sure.
did, really did well down at the, Haddam. Then they had two, they made a lot of money at that.
Oh, they
They
did?
did, yeah,
Okay.
they made,
Good.
yeah, they exceeded their goal and
Yeah.
stuff also, so.
Fantastic. And Staley's, I was over there, and they were extremely busy over
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to see that when we get a weekend like that, and all of those people come into the town, and our businesses are really popping here, and hear that cash register going up there.
Kevin shared with me that they made $500 more this year than they did last year, but they did that on selling bottles of cider, which are $5 less per bottle than the wine.
Oh,
So
okay.
when you put those two together exponentially, that's busy. And he said it was probably 90% tourism.
Yeah.
That it
Yes.
wasn't a lot of locals and stuff.
No.
He said, which was fine,
Yeah.
because, the locals are the rest of the year, but
Right.
that was purely tourism,
Yeah,
so.
and I think that I saw that going around different places. There was a lot of people from out of town
So-
but I think that means our advertising was out there and capturing people.
Now and to be fair on both sides, the only criticism we got was too many events in one weekend to
Yeah.
do them all.
Yeah.
And so we're toying with the idea, and we're gonna meet as a follow-up about being that a kickoff weekend to an entire month of come to East Haddam. Not that we want special events and a lot of stuff that we have to do, but inviting the public to come and check out our foliage, our restaurants, our businesses, and that's the kickoff weekend, because I've seen a ton of tourists that are here during the middle of the week and things like that. So if we're gonna do the marketing anyhow, we might as well just,
I think we still need to keep it that big
that
weekend.
grand weekend, right?
But maybe in our advertising can say it's for the
Exactly,
month.
and that's what that's what
Okay.
we were looking at doing, so.
Yep, and I think that, let's see if we can't get a little bit more out of it than
Yep.
just the one weekend, and by kind of just opening the door a little bit to it.
Exactly.
And so I think that, no, that's good, and anything else you have on
Nope,
the tourist committee?
nope.
Irene, you have anything on the tourist part of it? You don't?
Not
Okay.
right now.
I have a quick question for you. How many guides do we have left?
3 boxes.
We're gonna be
We're gonna be printing again. That's fabulous.
Oh, okay,
That's fabulous.
just so we knew.
Yeah, and so, okay, the expansion of the industrial area in the IG zone, basically I introduced that to the Planning and Zoning Commission at their last meeting. They went over and basically this is, we're talking about Shagbark is expanding into the backside of their property. which right now is residentially zoned. And they're asking for it to be an IG zone, we went over in our meeting. And so it was interesting to see what the P&Z board felt. They seemed interested, and I think they're gonna have a field walk on Sunday. So basically Shagbark and myself and anybody else who would like to go out there. It's 9:30 on Sunday morning. We're gonna meet and kind of walk over that 20 acres or 30 acres out there in the back. It's mostly all around the power lines out there. And I think that that's what we tried to bring out, was that the most suitable use for that is some kind of an industrial use with all the power lines that are already there. That's a pretty heavy-duty industrial use. So we're gonna have that walk on Sunday, and I think then we're gonna go back and see if they're interested in what other information they might want. And EDC is actually the applicant on this, that we're actually applying to the P&Z for this, and I think that we'll see if there's an interest, but I thought from around the table that I saw, it looked pretty positive. And so I think that we'll keep working on that and see if we can help that business out, and with some expansion of industrial properties there, and everything that comes on there and goes on the grand list, that's all a nice positive for the grand list. The possibility.
Where you're meeting?
We're right at the second driveway, so it's down where the power lines are, where you go out to the gravel pit. That's where we're gonna meet on Sunday morning at 9:30. And
Has Shadbark presented a plan that warrants the change?
basically what they have an engineer working on it now,
Okay.
to come up with some schematics on it. And so they're coming back, they've basically showed what they want to do.
I have it right here, I can give it to him.
Oh,
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I don't think that you were at that meeting,
Curious.
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
and basically, it's,
I believe it's an ideal location.
it seems so, it really seems so.
And you won't even see it from the road at all.
No, you really won't, and I think that's the beauty of it. You can basically build back there, you're behind the power lines, and so I think it's the most appropriate use for it back there. And so I think that if that moves along, that'll be a possibility of some additional space. And the nice thing about it is, I mean, it's gonna be sizable lots. I mean, it can be 2 or 3 acre parcels back there, and so.
More commerce.
Yeah, and that's exactly,
Looking for lunch,
that's,
Yeah.
yep,
more people using our gas stations,
yep.
Yep,
Yep,
want to eat at night.
yep, exactly.
It's, I think what we could certainly utilize, and so let's see what happens with that. Anybody else have any comment on that? And like I said, if anybody wants to join us out there, they're certainly welcome to. The possibility of creating a business area around the Four Corners in the southern area, that came up at the, I guess, the Plan of Conservation and Development meeting they had last Tuesday night, and which I thought was very well attended, for, I'm sure, the most I've ever seen at any planning meeting. And I think there was certainly a lot of interest, and there was a lot of people who were there and kind of concerned about what would ever be on that southern part of Town Street. So I think that that's something that will need certainly some time to develop, and it'll also need a lot of community input to see what if there's anything there that would be acceptable to the neighborhood. And that's all the Staley area there, and the Historical Society area, and that area down through there. So I think that will take.
These are the boards from that night,
Oh, okay.
so I made them into,
Oh, you made.
Packets for-
Oh, wonderful.
so everybody, these were the boards on one of the exercises that they had, so you have the exercise is, he passes them out to you guys. The exercise was kind of just, and you can read it here, but up here is the Moodus area. then you have Town Street, and then you have Village over to the side. And the exercise was to put your green where you wanted to see development and your red where you didn't want anything to happen, and then to post your notes on it. So after they were done, I asked them if I could take some pictures of the board, because I thought it would be great for us to kind of dissect it ourselves. And as you can see, overwhelmingly, they want stuff done to add to the grand list in the Village and up in Moodus, and they do not want Town Street. And then all the post-it notes, I tried to zoom in, and on the subsequent pages, I zoomed in a little bit more and ran pages so you guys could read some of the comments and stuff about the type of stuff that the people that were at the meeting wanted. This was just one exercise out of 5 they did.
Yeah, 5 or 6 of them, I
And
think.
they were kind of interesting and stuff.
Yeah.
It was definitely very much land conservation feel to the crowd.
Yes, very definitely.
Very definite.
It was a conservation
Yeah.
group that was there, and I think that they were very interested in any kind of open space, and probably.
There was the one thing a constant that you heard through all the different exercises and stuff is they want the open space that we have to somehow be tied together so that you can go from one area to another with trails. And then overwhelmingly you heard a lot of people wanted to have beautification put into the Moodus area. And they wanted to see that further developed for town services and things, and somewhat elevated in the look of it. And then again, they know the revitalization, it's got all kinds of ideas on that and what people want and stuff. But it was just interesting, so like I said, I just thought I would share that with you guys since everybody couldn't be there, so you
I
can.
thought they did a nice job.
It was
I thought
excellent.
Malone and McBroom, I thought, did a nice job, and Mike, I don't know Mike's last name, but Mike, he's worked for Malone, and I thought they did a very nice presentation. It was a nice way in which to get some input from people.
Interactive.
Yeah, very interactive, and but it was very tastefully done.
They took jars and they put 12 different headings on it: beautification, expanding of the utilities, land conservation, a whole bunch of different things. And then they gave you 10 popsicle sticks. And the point was, if those 10 popsicle sticks were your dollars, where would you spend your dollars? There was parks and recs, there was schools and libraries, there were government services. And so everybody kind of, put them where they wanted to. And again, that overwhelmingly was land conservation and beautification. And parks and recs,
the
and roads.
Roads were
and
right
roads
up there.
were right up there,
Roads
yes.
were very high on that list.
Yeah.
That they would spend money for roads.
Yeah, and they're gonna take all this data and then they're gonna have a second session. And I really encourage you guys to go to that session. It was really, really interesting and kind of enlightening to see where all of our fellow townspeople kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, there was what, 50, 75 people?
Yeah. There was a good 50 people there, and so I think that it was certainly, they were interested in a particular section, and but certainly strong on open space.
Yeah.
It was very strong.
Yeah,
And,
super strong.
yeah. So I think that that was an area.
And
that was
that's,
interesting.
again, there needs to be those discussions on open space, but if we don't improve our grand list, how do we afford all that?
Right. Yeah, there's got to be.
So maybe we have to do some kind of marketing or something of,
We do. We need to do some kind of a strategy to show that, we've lost some big ones on our grand list. Of the top 10, we've lost quite a bit of our top 10 grand list. Franklin Academy came off, that's 2.7 million. That was one of the bigger ones out there. And it doesn't go from 2.7 to 2. It goes from 2.7 to 0.
Right.
And those are the tough ones to replace. And of course, when basically Sunrise comes up. Sunrise was, I think, running around 1 million, and that went to 0.
Right.
And so when you see those kind of numbers coming off, and we don't have those kind of numbers going on.
Right, and it's not that we want to change the character or the historical nature, and I think that's what's lost in it. It's an either or. It's an either totally rural, open space, or we're going to just develop the crud out of it. And I think that maybe some marketing of
Happy medium.
a happy medium, and you know, a little, not that they're not educated, but an educational piece on how the two can coincide, because we can't support all that if we don't have.
Well, and not only that, but the residents want some services.
Right,
I mean,
right.
we want some services here, and we want them to be convenient.
Right.
And, but we want them to be tasteful.
Correct.
That's the thing.
And that's what I think gets lost a little in the translation, is they really feel like it's an all or nothing. It's
Yeah.
either one side or the other.
Well, it's either the dollar store or open
Right,
space.
and-
Well,
and-
guess what?
yeah, we can't we do
and of course,
both?
that comes up all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I don't know whoever owns that poor dollar store, but they're
They get-
getting
they
really
get beat
beat
up.
up.
Yeah.
I didn't think it looked that bad, but boy, anybody has a conversation. The
Yeah.
bad is the dollar
I mean,
store.
even the guy at the front of the meeting like started bagging on the dollar store. It was like, wow.
It was like, oh boy, that store. Go.
Well, you're speaking of the one across the river.
Right.
Yeah, I used to get into it with Paul DeSerio all the time.
Yeah.
And he'd say, you know, that's my backyard, I can put stuff down there, and it really doesn't impact, the yada, yada, yada. I'd look at him and say, Paul, that's my front door.
That's where we're all coming in.
Yep.
And you know what? It's all in your perspective.
Yep. Exactly.
What they're doing over there is our front door.
Exactly.
And I knew I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and, I mean, but still, you take Goodspeed Station building, they built that, I mean, that's a beautiful facility.
Right.
Look,
And,
you get down the hill, it's not bad at all.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And,
But that's,
And
again,
you
that's,
Just that beautiful view that as you
Yeah.
leave this and suddenly look at that
Yeah.
Nirvana right there in front of me.
Yeah.
yeah.
And off of Goodspeed Station, what beautiful views you get off that piece of property, right down there, you're looking right down the river. And, so it is quite a spot.
It's just, I just hate them.
Yeah, but it's almost like, that's been there, God, for
been
what,
there.
40 years, almost, and, probably all the 40 years.
The, Board of Finance, you know how they divided up into groups and they were working on various things? There was one group of them that were gonna be working on, revisiting the pilot. Do you know if anything's come of that?
No, Bill and I talk about that. We've got to get, the problem with pilot is the state of Connecticut is incredibly generous. Really nothing you can do. Even Consumers Union, they're very good. They give us, what, 20 or 25,000 a year?
Yeah.
And we earmark it where we want it. They are so careful to say this is not a pilot. This is a gift.
Consumers, yeah.
Consumer-
But the-
they've been
but the
doing it for
ones
as
that we
long as I
have-
can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the play scape that's going in over the elementary school, half finished now, the other half is coming hopefully this next year from Consumers Union. And we've agreed that's where the money's gonna go. But pilot is a real sensitive item, and it's a sacred cow, you really can't get at it. The theater, God bless them, they give us 25 grand a year. We went after them in court in 1975, and they came back in 1993 to make that happen. It took quite an expense, and I've looked at the documents, I don't know if it's being computed correctly at this point. It's about that thick, and I'm not enough of a lawyer to begin to understand what I'm reading. But I do think that at some point, we're gonna have to hire a lawyer and really go through it and make sure it's working right. But pilot is tough. You don't
Excuse
just
me.
go out there and say, please, would you? They don't.
Yeah, what does the Goodspeed consider it, a pilot or a gift?
Pilot.
It's pilot,
It's on the
but
books
it's
as a
pilot by
pilot.
court order
Theirs is.
Yeah.
But Consumer Report
is a gift.
is a gift.
And they are not obliged, and they make it very clear, under no circumstances are they obliged to do that.
Right.
They don't want to set that kind of precedence. And so they're very, very careful about it. And God bless them, they do wonderful things for us.
What's the definition of the pilot? Why would Goodspeed have to pay a pilot, and yet somebody else doesn't have to pay anything at
Your
all?
Kentucky Tells takes a court order to force them. The state of Connecticut is supposed to be paying pilots for all its state parks,
Right.
paying them in lieu of taxes.
Yeah.
It never comes even close to what should be paid for the kind of land.
They are paying a pilot?
A token amount.
I was just saying.
They all
Don't
pay-
hold me to how much exactly.
Yeah.
But you can only imagine if it was real value, like Gillette.
Village Castle, the Hot
You can
Yard,
only imagine.
we got some Salmon River property up there. I mean, there's a lot in this town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and obviously, all of it's worth millions, and,
Paul's comment was 51% of my town is in pilot, mostly with the state land.
Yeah.
And he says, that's why I gotta build those things down there.
Yeah, so that's why the Goodspeed Opera House hasn't stepped up to the plate with their new developments that they've made in the last 5 years.
There is the formula, and once again, I've been through it, spent a couple, 3 weeks, a year ago, going through it
Right.
all, trying to understand and it's a very complicated, intricate, but then any number of things that are related to other things and how it all fits together. And it's way beyond my capacity. I'm good with numbers, but not that good.
Yeah, so it seems like they're not gonna come to the door. It seems like the town of East Haddam will approach that business, and then what makes us not approach other businesses that are nonprofit for a gift or a pilot,
That's a good question. Franklin,
right?
as long as they didn't own the property, they were not eligible for the tax exemption.
Mhm.
They owned it, they became a 501c3.
And what about like Johnsonville and some of those?
Johnsonville
They're
right
still
now
paying
is still
taxes,
paying
right?
full tax.
Yeah.
Now,
So
they're
leave them alone.
eligible, at least in part, any religious organization with lands strictly dedicated to religious purposes can be exempt. Father Bill's fully exempt.
Right.
Uh,
Shady Brook,
Shady Brook is paying
at-
full taxes. They actually went
was-
back and paid all the taxes in arrears.
they did, yeah.
They cleaned up
well, they
everything.
had to,
Wow.
they wanted to buy it, so they had to pay the
Yeah.
taxes
But
on it.
they're very good about now what comes in the future.
Right, we'll
No.
see.
How do you know? And as I said, the Connecticut legislature's been very generous.
But East Haddam seems to be quite a destination for nonprofit.
The cities-
We have a lot of land.
Yeah, the cities
Wow.
with all the hospitals, all the social organizations.
City of Hartford is devastated.
Libraries, I mean, cities are absolutely overwhelmed by the nonprofits.
I bet they are.
And the richest people you ever want to meet.
And, that's why the taxes are 70 mils, 50, 60,
point.
70 mils.
But,
Just asking.
yeah, well, I mean, and I think too, like, the
Good discussion.
Goodspeed also has a lot of taxable property too, because they're in the top 10.
But there's only two to three that are taxable.
Gilston, Williams Chevrolet,
Those are taxable.
right,
Yes.
and that puts them in,
And one building in the East Haddam Industrial Park, or
oh, one of them
East
there.
Haddam in Bernstein's section.
Okay.
So there's
Yeah.
3 buildings.
This question centered around the actors' housing, just how does that fit into the picture, into the mix?
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, that's put another burden on the town as far as fire protection and police protection. And those are major things that.
Franklin Academy is nonstop fire alarms.
Yeah.
And we're giving very serious thought, the fire department,
Fees.
to you get this many and then you start paying.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that would be just to influence them to update their equipment.
Right.
You know, the steam in the shower area is setting off fire alarms. My guys, there's stuff that won't do that.
Yeah,
And it costs us a bundle every time it goes
Yeah.
off.
yeah, and you're tying up your people.
Right.
That's the
Unless
big-
somebody's having a real
Involved,
fire.
Insurance,
Yeah.
equipment, wear
Yeah.
and tear.
It's whenever you have that kind of a risk involved here to be there. Well, hello, welcome. But, no, so I think that is something that, we'd sure like to see if there wasn't some more dollars out there.
Bill and I keep making dates to go down and talk to people.
Good.
Yeah.
And somehow it doesn't come through.
Yeah.
It's be a tough one for them when you're knocking on a door for them to open up.
You think the two of you can't get together?
You should have done it last night, with a costume on, right?
You would
Maybe
open the door
next
and
year.
give me candy.
I'll have to be fully equipped for that one.
Absolutely. And then Chatham Health, basically, we sent the letters out, and I think there is, we went to the selectmen, and it went to Board of Finance, and it went to Land Use, and have had some comments come back from them, and I think that we're going to have a meeting with the selectmen and Chatham Health and hopefully just have a good roundtable discussion. And that is on the 7th, isn't it?
It's on the 8th,
On the 8th, okay.
7 o'clock,
November
right here,
right here, okay.
it's a week from today.
And I'd like to have, would you be available?
Sure, I
to
should
do
be.
something? Irene, would you be available?
I think so.
All right, all
Should
right.
have a lot of time.
Not in the hot tub yet.
Yeah.
Bob, we're pegging that as a special meeting for you.
Okay, yep,
You have to do.
yep,
And we're gonna do likewise for the Board of Selectmen.
okay, so we'll notify,
Have a joint meeting.
okay. Would you be taking minutes, or would somebody be taking minutes?
I do both
Sure.
of them.
Oh, you do both of them? Oh, okay,
I'll be
okay,
here.
fine, okay.
We're all set on that already.
Okay, all right. All right, all right, then, we'll take and get together with
Don
the,
coming, we got Andy coming, and hopefully I'm hoping that some of the other selectmen will make it.
oh, good.
So it's not with Valley Shore, it's with Chatham.
It's with Chatham, yeah.
Oh, okay, got you.
No, this is with Chatham. And so we're having a discussion with Chatham about what,
Their plans, where are they going? How are they gonna correct the defects that are in place right now? And some of it's gonna be, what's the impact on the town of change?
Mhm.
And there's more impact than just, it's not just a matter of swapping, going on somewhere else. There's a lot of secondary things that take place because of it,
Mhm.
and those are a matter of concern.
Okay.
So it's not as simple as you might think initially.
is that
Nothing ever
coming,
is.
is that coming out of your office, or is that coming out of their office that they're going
I
to?
have some of my own points that I wanna make on it,
Okay,
consequences of doing it.
right.
Just right off the top, Everbridge. We use extensively Everbridge, the schools depend on it.
For,
That this is our emergency communications.
oh, yeah.
We can draw a line in the town, everybody inside the line that's signed up gets a call. Everybody should be signed up with it. Likewise,
Is that connected to Chatham Health?
we get it, they pay for it,
Okay.
and it's expensive. None of the others pay for it. And you're probably talking upwards of $6,000-7,000, maybe more for us to sign up on our own. And it really is a cornerstone of our emergency communication system.
Didn't the
How
other,
is that relating to Chatham?
They pay for it.
Yeah, but why is
They,
it?
they sign up for it, and all of the member towns of Chatham get it
Okay.
as part of the package.
was that part of the new dispatch system that they went to a couple of years? Is that what you're,
This has been
no?
around for quite a long time.
Okay.
This because I remember with Irene, we were using it way back. And
Different Irene now.
yeah, curious enough, a lot of the other towns don't use it as much as we do. And a year ago, they were gonna drop it and go to something else. And I explained to them just how important it was to us. And they hung on to it, largely because of us.
So what do we use it for? What type of?
You know those calls?
Those phone calls that Emmett gives us.
You hear me in the morning at 5 o'clock and you really don't want to.
Saying that,
That's Everbridge. And as I say, we can draw a line in town.
Sorry, there's feedback going on.
Yeah.
Everyone who signed up, and hopefully most of the towns, I know that all the school people are, because they use it even more extensively than we do.
Okay.
But you draw a line, bingo, everybody inside it. So we go up to the transfer station, and we have the stump dump up and back, the
bulky waste.
yeah, bulky waste, but this is the burnable stuff, the branches, leaves, whatever. And once or twice a year, we burn it. We use it to notify everybody in that area that there is gonna be smoke in the area and what's going on. So it's a useful, very, very useful tool.
And you said the other towns don't use it, so what do they use in place of it?
They have other systems that don't work as well.
Okay.
We've come to the point where we really use it heavily. And our school system, far more heavily than the rest of the town. This is how you know when schools close. This is how you know when there's an issue with.
So, but you could sign up individually, obviously, as a community to be a part
But
of
it
it.
would cost us
Yeah,
$6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to do it.
yeah.
So, you know, when you look at the costs, you gotta factor that into
It
what they're charging us. So, as I say, there's other things like that that we need to talk about,
Mhm. Yeah.
included in the package. It's not just a matter of leaving, we leave a lot behind.
No, and I think that's the thing to do, is to come up with the list of whatever other things that we don't see that one has against the other, so we can
Right.
obviously make a good evaluation
Right.
of what. And, okay, no, and so we'll have that, and we'll report back to the committee as to,
You're all invited.
Yeah.
We'd love to have, the more the merrier, you know, the better the questions, hopefully the better the information we get.
okay, all right, and,
It'll only be the third meeting in 3 weeks for you guys.
All right, well, we're all on overtime now, so, you know, we're getting the big money now.
We get that 0 times.
All right, the plan of conservation and development, yeah, that was basically what this was, and I think that it seems like it's coming along well, and so it'll be interesting to see. Now, they are looking for something from EDC as to what we would like this to be, and I think that anybody who would like to put anything in, I'm gonna try to start to draft up something as to what will be coming from EDC, and be looking for any input from anybody who would like to be a part of this, and maybe we can get some ideas put together and send them over to P&Z. And
Is there a deadline for that?
yeah, I think that we're probably talking 1st of December. I think would probably be a date that would.
That's what they were saying, that they, with the final draft they were looking at in January, weren't they, or was
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I would say that I think so, somewhere around that would be when I would certainly like to get them something. And they were, at their last meeting, they were looking for something from EDC, because I think that a lot of this new plan, they're certainly very open to making the economic development a statement in here. The last one, really, I think there's been some short-sightedness on that last one, where it really didn't have anything. We did make up one
Right.
there, 2 years ago, and presented it to, after it took a year to get through planning and zoning. So I think we can use that, because it's only a couple years old, so we can use that as a starting point.
Basis.
But I think we need to update as to what we have been working on and what we would like to work on. So anybody who has any input on that, I would sure like to funnel it towards my direction, and we'll start to put some drafts together and see if we can come up with what we would like to see in that plan of conservation and development. Under new business, the vision statement, I don't know whether,
We said we were gonna table that till the colds of January or February, if you remember.
okay, all right.
We need something to,
Sharon, could you pull that off until the January meeting?
Sure.
That vision statement?
Yeah.
Business of the month for December,
I pulled them out.
okay, and we had, certainly, it was very nice, the one we did for November.
Sign arrived there today. I
Oh, good.
took it from Morfett and put it in front of
Yeah,
Kim's.
and so that was 32
Yep.
Main, and Kim was certainly very pleased to be recognized.
She was sitting outside at her picnic table today when I brought it and was very excited to have the
Yeah.
sign there.
Yeah, yeah. I think it really brings about a lot of good PR, and I think it's a feel-good thing for our businesses. And I saw that with Marilla too, that
Well,
she was really taken to be.
Well, and her
a part-
staff has approached me several times and mentioned things about it to me. They just said it makes you feel really good when you drive up to work and that sign's out there.
Yeah,
So, thought that was kind of a nice,
it's.
she said it was just a boost
Yes.
to know your town cares about you.
Yes,
So,
and I think
that was
that's
cool.
what it's all about. It's, we are recognizing that they are, important to our community, and, but I have been really touched by how sincere.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
believe it or not, we've done it for a half year now. I mean, that is just like flown by. This will be the 6th one. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's, gone amazingly quick.
Yeah,
So,
but I think it has been extremely positive. And I think that they can have the businesses, feel like they're being recognized.
And it
for
should
their-
be in, it wasn't in today's paper, so it should be in next week's
Yeah.
for that one. And then when events comes out this next week, it should be a recap of the 3 from that prior quarter. So it should be Julia, 360, and Grandview.
Okay,
And so those articles and those pictures, I kind of condensed them, but they should all be in that magazine also. So you get a second boost. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
would you also send that first picture that we had, that would have been, what's the one up in Modus, the first one we had?
Cadence, 360.
Cadence. Would you send that to Cindy at the Board of Finance? She was looking for a couple of pictures for the annual report. And I thought that was, we did mention that in the article, and I thought that
Yeah.
that would be nice if we had that picture for that, and,
To Cindy and Board of Finance, you said?
yeah, well, Cindy is, she's the
Yeah.
Director of Board of
Yeah,
Finance.
director, okay.
And she's the one who puts together
Okay. Yeah.
the annual
Yeah.
report. And so I think.
I will, and then I think I was also told that, and just to be a spoiler, I think I was also told that Grandview's gonna be on the cover of Events
Heard they
Magazine.
got a nice cover.
No.
So not only will you be on the cover, you're also written up in it, so.
Boy, we like to see that.
That's a Sunday with a double cherry on top.
Yes,
That's
I
like
should
good
say so.
stuff.
Aye.
The photographer kind of spoiled that because they needed us to give them the rights to print it.
Yeah.
So, and I guess it's the log cabin, so
Oh,
That's very,
should
that's,
be neat.
yeah.
Neat.
and I just was like thinking, oh wow, that's cool, plus they're gonna be inside as the business of the month, so that's,
Yeah.
Bermudas.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It would be nice if they get one of those weekends when you have all those campers out there. It looks so cool to see all those colors. When
Yeah,
you're going up
yeah.
North Moodus Road and you look up on your hill over there and you see all
Yeah.
those colors all over up
Yeah.
and where the
It's
camp.
impressive.
It's very impressive, and it just looks so inviting. And then you get all the background of the hill back there, and it looks very nice.
yep.
Aesthetically, it's an improvement.
Oh yeah, just a little over where that was. What, 5 years ago? 5 years ago, you couldn't even see the
Couldn't
place.
see the buildings.
You didn't even know that all that stuff was up in there. Never mind the hill that's
Oh,
up
I
there
know.
in the backyard. But all right, the business of the month. Do we?
So on our list that we have left, that from the first go round that we had, we've already done some of them that were on the list. More Fit became October's, 32 Main Higher Grounds became November's, and who we still had on the list was Dutch Oil, iPark, Nathan Hale Pharmacy, and then there was some talk about the new barber shop.
Okay.
And-
Swing Bridge.
Swing Bridge,
Barbershop.
Swing Bridge Barbershop. And then we had talked about doing the sign for that, and I did get a bid on it, and it's fairly substantial. So I'm gonna look and see what I can get from EMP, if they can do a little bit better than that, because that's pretty hefty. One is two-sided and the other one is one-sided. So, like I say,
Yeah, I was expecting something around 250.
yeah, so that's why I said, let me talk and see, if I can get something besides that and stuff, so. We're looking at close to 600 or 400, so that seems, yeah,
That's
Yeah.
high.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so we'll see what we can,
got the case of these Haddam ones, they weren't very expensive, they were around the 200 mark.
yeah. And I don't know if it's because of the bases that made them so expensive and stuff, but like I say, let me see who else I can.
Yes, those bases are expensive.
And that's the
Yeah,
thing
we need
is,
something to hold it.
we gotta have it to hold it, and we
Yeah.
gotta have it substantial enough that with the storms and stuff,
Yeah,
that it
it doesn't
doesn't
just blow over.
take, then we've spent money for nothing, so
Yeah.
I think that's where the price is coming in, so. But anyways, that leaves us, Swing Bridge was a new business, so that left us with, we were gonna recognize new businesses, so that left us with Dutch Oil, iPark, and Nathan Hale Pharmacy.
And I think we
Well, I
could,
would think if we did iPark, we should probably do iPark, because they're gonna kind of shut down, you know what I mean? So if
So
you put
December?
iPark up there, I wouldn't know that iPark would be, it's more
This time
seasonal.
of year,
We should
right.
do it like in the springtime,
Right.
like summertime, when they're open and they're alive and vibrant, when they're kind of closing that, I think they have one.
well, they have one this Sunday.
Right.
This Sunday, they have their,
So December,
that
there's
would
not
be-
gonna be anything
yeah.
going on,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
um,
right, so we don't wanna make them the one
Right, that's
for
what she said.
December, right,
Yeah.
yes,
cause we're
yes,
talking December.
Yeah.
okay.
I would go toward Dutch,
And I was gonna say, Dutch has
cause they're
done that
probably gonna be
facility,
putting
and we've
money-
talked about them time and time again.
Well, and also, I think it should be the repairing of the mill building. That, to me, was a wonderful addition. And we all drive around that corner, and it sure looks nice to see that mill building repaired and brought back.
Well-
And I think that was one of our ideas, is that anybody who's basically updating a facility, and that is so visible around that corner.
And then their service to the community, they sponsor everything, they're at everything.
And they'll be doing
They came-
fuel, right? Don't they do fuel in the wintertime for people?
Yeah,
You know, so that's kind of probably, you know, it's a good, you know, they gift to.
I'll bet you they would really like to do some fuel for somebody this winter.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
They wanna
give it
sell
away.
it.
They give, you know, they do.
yeah,
They do a lot of
Needy people.
donating and,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
But,
Operation Fuel, is that what I'm trying to come up with?
Uh-huh, yep, yep.
So,
But, no, and I think that, maybe we could,
It's timely.
I don't know if we could add to that list. I think
Yeah,
Shagbark is
exactly.
another one who donates a tremendous amount to the
Yeah.
two organizations. They are out there all the time, with, you know, community groups that are doing something, so I think that
And they have been recognized,
yeah.
you know, I mean, they've been, you know, I forget, Jack and them got something, Mark got something, so there have been things
Right.
that have been done in the past.
Yeah, but it's not,
At town too, but.
yeah, but not
But they should
EDC.
definitely, yeah, they should definitely be on the list.
and then I wanted to also put down, although she's not really a new business, and I'm making different lists here so that we go, but, Deb Marston, and what is it, Connecticut Farm Fresh?
Fresh, yeah.
Yeah, and she's just recently gone from just, you know, the delivery to an actual kind of brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So she should probably be on our new list too,
Mhm,
so that
yes.
when we do get the sign and we're hitting new businesses, so,
Yep, yep.
Connecticut Farm Fresh. And again, as places come up, you guys tell me so I can keep the running list.
Well, what about the grist mill? We got new owners.
New owners,
Yeah,
Chris,
yeah.
new owners.
And it'd be nice to introduce him to the town.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been actually trying to reach out to him from the paper, to put something in the paper for
and
him.
the same with Hilltop
haven't
has
been
new
able
owners.
to-
Hilltop gets just
He
changed.
does a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
we
new
haven't-
owners.
Which one did you just say?
Hilltop.
Hilltop.
Yeah. Have they opened
Yeah.
again? Are they,
Yeah, it was on Facebook. People are already batting the ball back and forth and stuff, so it's like,
cause I remember seeing an ad for music coming up. We
Okay.
were
Yeah.
talking about that this
And-
morning, that,
And also, Town Tavern. Town Tavern is
is,
that on there?
that would be on a new business,
Okay.
and I'm doing new businesses over there, so Town Tavern,
And,
Shagbark, Town Tavern.
Two Wrestling Cats is on there, something?
Two wrestling.
And, what's the other around?
You know, and at some point in time, we can think of some way, like maybe some of the home businesses or something that are kind of more of a presence and stuff. That would be nice to.
Yes, yes, some of those ones. Well, let's do some of the, obviously, the ones that are a little bit more exposure to them.
Yeah.
And then, we could start to, you know, look in the bushes here a little bit. see
Yeah,
what's
and,
out there.
and another one that over the years is they went from the one building and they've really improved is the Middlesex hospital, the medical facility.
Oh, gosh, yes, yes, Dr.
Yeah, Gorley, yeah.
Corley's office.
Yeah, they brought that level
Oh,
up.
that was huge,
Yeah.
huge,
So,
I mean, just the building alone, they've
Yeah.
turned it right around.
yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
People
Yeah.
dying versus people
And,
getting.
and the same with People's Dental. When the one dentist retired there, they went in and I don't know if you've been in there, but they totally revamped that and renovated that entire building also. I mean,
And there's a new attitude where we're looking for new patients, and
Yeah.
there's certainly,
there's
instead
people's
of the
dental.
old, okay, that's good enough sort of thing,
Yeah.
they're looking to grow their business.
So, we
Yeah.
can keep this going for a couple of years, guys. This list is just, you know.
So anyway,
So,
I like your motion. I think
You wanna
Dutch would be a
move for
very
Dutch?
fitting one. I think it fits into what we were looking for, was improvements in the facility, great exposure, and somebody who's certainly interested in this.
How do we
community.
wanna recognize him? We wanna recognize Dutch as Dutch oil or Dutch propane? Propane.
isn't it Dutch oil and propane?
sign- Yeah,
I think it's oil and
where,
propane.
where would the sign go?
Wherever
Propane.
I would ask them wherever they would like me to put it.
Well, propane, it will go down
Right.
Right.
at a renovated building,
Yeah,
but if it's fuel, it's gonna be up on,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's up to the business.
yeah.
I would hope that it would end up down by the mill, and, cause I
Yeah.
think that is
They're pretty
the,
receptive
Well,
to,
it's more traffic.
yeah,
well, it's not traffic, that's where they made a huge improvement in the
Yeah.
community.
yeah.
And
And Frances would be the person who had that for me and stuff, and she's pretty, so she
She's-
probably, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's
So
very
I'm pretty good friends with her, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, well, I'll make a motion that we recognize Dutch oil
Oil
propane
and propane.
Second.
for the business of the month. We have a second.
I reduced it.
Any other comments? All those in favor of recognizing Dutch oil propane for the month of December? Say aye, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Write it up. But I'm
All
gonna
right.
be there to do that.
We'll have them,
Yeah, do the picture and I'll present it.
we didn't, paying the bills, we didn't get the bills totally for the fall weekend. So I will,
Did you get it from Julia? She,
Oh, no, I didn't get a bill.
oh, okay.
No, but I do have money for the town of East Haddam
Oh,
for, REITs.
oh, okay.
So we'll be talking about that, but I.
We're gonna be talking about that right now, so, we're gonna be looking at the, basically,
Don't we need to authorize paying Irina on the bills for the,
Yes, that would be nice.
oh,
even though we
okay.
don't have the other one from Belfour, we don't wanna hold that up, do we?
I don't have one from,
But we have one from her.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Do
don't we need to
do
pay that?
Yeah, do we have those numbers?
You do. She gave it to you.
I know it, and I don't have it. Do you know what they are off the top of your head?
I forget.
For the flyers, it was 500?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
there change, tax or anything? 500 something?
505,
Flyers for the train?
yes.
Yeah, that's the flyers
Yeah.
for the train.
Yeah.
Okay,
Up
then, is there anything else out there? You have anything else
No,
out
that's
there?
it.
No,
That's all.
Balfour and
Okay.
whatever memories,
Okay, cause
rare
you,
reminders or something.
you did something and we could recognize you as, you made some donation.
Oh, yeah, it was $25, it was not a big.
Okay, well, you didn't, I did the same thing, but I just want to recognize her for a donation, that's all. But, all right, why don't we, the bill we have is for, basically, we wanted to give something to go onto the trains for exposure, and we didn't want to give out all our full visitors.
Yeah, we don't have any more.
And so that's pretty expensive to print those, so basically what we did was we printed up basically sheets, and that worked out very well. I saw many people walking around with that sheet in their hands.
Absolutely.
And so I think that was I think it was even a better thing to do. And so there was a bill from Staples that Irene did, and it was $500 and something, and I'll get
It's
the.
like 505 to 64.
Yeah, it was some odd amount there, but it was basically $500, and I'll get basically the exact amount. But if we could have a motion to pay the bill for
Make a
basically.
motion, we paid a
It
bill.
was Staples.
In receipt of. The
Okay,
bills you have, pay.
okay.
I second that motion.
All right, and so, yes, because we'd like to get that paid. So, all those in favor? Aye, those
Aye.
opposed? Fine, we will get that to the proper place, the proper trade channels here. And, all right, let's see, a public comment? But, Deborah, would you like to say anything
Want this
to
in
the
the
I
board?
wanted to give a quick update on the tourism and arts and culture front.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to comment that you guys have been doing great work. I've like been trying to get here for a couple months, but didn't have a lot to report other than to say, yeah, things have been going great. But recently, I just wanted to check in with you. I was trying to get to your business expo and circle up with Rose Bove. So I don't know what handouts she brought you, but I attended the strategic marketing session that the Office of Tourism did a couple weeks back, and got a list of the Connecticut Office of Tourism contacts. Do you guys have that or read that?
I think
made a couple copies.
this is what she brought, because I went to the thing, so this is what all she brought us.
You probably recognize all this.
This is all of everything that we. And then she said she'd get us the present.
Website, okay.
Yeah, and she'd get us the presentation, and she also made reference that she would come and work with us on seminars.
Yeah, that would be good to do, but the contacts list is good, and because the department keeps shrinking, so what I got from the strategic marketing session, you know, they did a whole presentation that I have a copy of as well, of their past successes of the Office of Tourism's website and their future plans for promoting Connecticut statewide. So their focus for the Office of Tourism is to Boston and New York markets mostly to get people here. But then they leave it kind of up to the towns and the agencies, the entities to kind of get them around the towns. So Rose is the best person to contact with you know, what she was mentioning in terms of getting the town listed on the state website.
She also asked if, and I told her that we'd absolutely do it, and she wanted, I'll call her next week and she would make a day to come up and have Bob and I kind of drive her around and show her the different places and the different things here in town and stuff, because she said that it's so much easier to promote us when she's actually had a personal tour of it, and so to take her like to Devil's Hopyard, Fox Ridge, up to the castle and everything. So I'll call her and we'll make an appointment to do that.
Right, and the
So-
other person to put on the press releases that does a lot are the Adams and Knight contact on here. They're the PR firm, and the same thing, like it's their choice and content of who they're using to promote and what stories they're telling. Like they're writing a lot of content and things.
Yeah, she showed me all the stories on the website and how to get on,
Yeah.
to be a story and get on to get on their stories. It was basically just me and the East Haddam Business Association person that was there, so we got really a one-on-one tutorial, and she gave us some really great tips
Good,
on how to
good.
maximize that and stuff. So
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. So they're doing their thing, which is great, and you know they'll keep going. The other good news was that I think I may have mentioned this last time, was that the central regional tourism districts were refunded, but nothing's been happening. I'm the rep to that, but haven't been at a meeting for 2.5 years since they were defunded. They are funded again, but just got word that a contract has been signed with the Middlesex County Chamber to administer the minuscule amount of funding that they're receiving to promote the region. So I'll find out more about that. November 15th is when our board meeting is for all the representatives from the town and the Central Regional Tourism District to come back together.
So will you give us a little briefing on that?
I will.
And, or even just, send me a note or something, just so we
Yeah.
can stay up on that?
Right, what they're gonna be able to do with the small amount of money. I don't even remember on the top of my head, but it wasn't enough to rehire staff and all that, especially with the unpredictability of whether they'll be funded again next year. So by November 15th, we'll know who the governor is, maybe which way we're going, and can give, some insights at that November 15th meeting.
Okay.
But for now, the funding that they have received for fiscal 18-19 will be put into use, but it sounds like administered by the Middlesex County Chamber to kind of promote our region, which goes from Enfield down to Saybrook.
Oh, wow, it's that
It's a
big?
huge- yeah.
There's a couple of
There's
million
3.
in this little pot, right?
No. That's why they couldn't bring back staff or anything, so I think each region, there's 3 regions. The
That's for the
central one-
state, there's 3 regions?
Yeah, 3
That's
tourism
what they've
district
done.
regions, right.
It's hard.
So East Haddam is in the central, the Southeastern, which is the organization that I work for, the footprint is in the eastern one, they're doing it differently. They're not having a chamber represent them, but.
Okay, but at least, I mean, a chamber, that's fine, that's a good
Yeah,
way to
it's-
shoot it through.
right.
I think, you know, it's either gonna be a planning, group, so it's gonna be COG or something like that, but
Right.
doing through the chamber, that's fine.
You know, I
Yeah.
think it'll be promotion money is probably all they have, you know, money for.
Well, yeah, even
Yeah,
if we could
even
get a few
that.
bucks out of it, we'd
Well,
love
or-
it.
Or even as the Lower River Coalition, all for that whole, as a group.
Goes
Maybe we-
for it.
Yeah, maybe we had to have a little
Yeah.
more oomph as we do it as 5 towns.
We've been working with basically the towns of Essex, Chester, Haddam, and East Haddam have been working
River.
together. And maybe we could come up with something and tap into those funds as a group
Right.
to promote you know, the river. And it always, you know, makes it a little bit more impressive when we get 4 of us together or something.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
And,
we'll see what they're gonna do, or, you know, what they have money for, what their plans are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll report back to you after that, but the good news that we're actually coming together, but he did say, so the chair of that is, the B&B owner, Mothersburg, in Haddam.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
saw him the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
chair of that agency, but he said that even though they are theoretically funded, they haven't received the check yet.
Right.
Yes, but, you
Show
know,
me the money.
everyone is saying that
Yeah.
the checks are coming before the end of the year, so, anyway.
So
And
expect
then-
that check on December 31st, huh?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then just to give you a quick update, just from the arts and culture side of tourism, the regional arts and culture agencies, so East Haddam is in, and there's 9 of those. The Shoreline Arts, District,
That's what we're part of?
that's what you're part of for the arts agencies, which there's 9 of them. So they're under the Office of the Arts.
Mhm.
And I work for the Southeastern Connecticut Cultural Coalition, which is the western or the eastern side of the river. All of the 9 have teamed up and are part of the Connecticut Arts Alliance, which has done a campaign modeled over Massachusetts' campaign called Create the Vote. And what they've been doing is representatives have been meeting with the candidates and now governor candidates to present and inform them about issues facing arts and culture. So I have some handouts, they put some policy documents together of kind of the things that they want the candidates to be aware of, acknowledging that arts and culture situated under DCED and supported by the Office of the Arts improves the quality of life and contributes to Connecticut's economy, creates vibrant rural and urban communities, and supports the tourism agency. So this 4-piece talks about funding and the tourism fund that's coming down the pike for the next fiscal year. It talks about kind of action needed, recommendations, and the current status of federal funding to arts and culture, facilities funding, grant funding.
Now, is there ever been any numbers come out of your agency showing that $1 into this and what's the return to
No.
the state?
New
And
numbers.
That's on here.
it is on there?
$1 is 14 N.
That's, I think, for tourism is
Yep.
14. So for arts
Oh,
and
for
culture
arts.
part of it,
Yep.
they use data that's $1 to arts is 7 to the state return on investment in arts and culture. So arts and culture nonprofits,
Any
this
of
is
it.
from arts and cultural nonprofit surveys. Let me see if they have.
It's certainly a good
Tourism
return.
data.
I mean, 1 in 14, 1 in 7. I mean, we're talking about an awfully good return for what we invest.
I think we should open the welcome centers again.
Yeah.
Yes, there's, right, that was definitely a high priority item.
Yeah.
So while this is all happening, the Representative Arasimowicz also announced that he's working on a group to discuss and get everybody at the table about this tourism funding and arts and culture funding, which are 2 different pipelines. The arts and culture funding is matched by the National Endowment of the Arts. Tourism funding is not. So they're kind of right now all thrown in the same bucket, and there's some pros and cons to that, that are outlined here. So after the election, the Shoreline Arts Alliance and our agency and the other 8 or 7 are gonna do follow-up with the gubernatorial future governor transition team. So just because East Haddam is so arts and culture focused,
Yeah.
wanted to just bring that to your attention, that
Great.
people are working on it and still,
Yes. Well, I think that, if we could just get a little bit of money thrown into that pot, we can really utilize it. And so
So the upcoming decisions and discussions with the transition team and governor team when they arrive, and the new general assembly, this will all be kind of
yeah. I mean, we got to see
on the
who.
forefront as much as
The old
possible.
story, we gotta find out who the boss is, and once we find out who the boss is, we can get an
Well,
idea.
we're putting him to work.
Well, and I think, yeah, basically see where his interests are, and basically whether we can get some of these things going, and,
So it was a good step in the right direction, because there's been a lot of confusion in the past about arts funding versus tourism funding and what covers what. So that it was great that statewide, all the arts agencies got together and agreed that these are the priority issues.
yep,
So that, the other discussions, things related to tourism can go which way they may, but in terms of arts, this is where we want.
well, maybe after the elections, you could come back and give us a little story as
I
to
know
what's
anything
going on
that-
here.
Yeah.
Whatever you know, let us know.
I know.
And so, because lots of times it's knowing where to apply, who to ask, and I think that, you're gonna know, if there's a.
December is what the arts agencies met today through a conference call, and they said, yeah, let's see what shakes out, let's meet in December, cause
Yeah.
maybe then they'll know where the wind is
Yeah,
blowing.
right, or at least get an idea.
Right.
I mean, and from there, if you see any opportunity for us on the local level to do something, or with our coalition of towns,
Right.
by all means, let us know so that if we can get something
May
in,
take, into be a first.
if we can get something in the pipeline, somewhere along the line, let's get our name out there. And let's get this Connecticut River working all we can, and
Yeah.
so, no,
Yeah, but the good news is the Office of Tourism, does highlight a lot of East Haddam's things. That's the other good thing. Sitting in those presentations and seeing where they've spent their money, there's pictures of the castle, there's pictures of Goodspeed.
Yeah.
All over the place, so.
we got good stuff
Very
here.
lucky. You have to pay for that.
Yes,
They're
we-
looking for our stories.
Good, good. Well, thank you very much for coming
Thank
in.
you,
It's good to
guys.
see you, and,
Missed all the stuff, but I've been following the minutes and,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
it looks great.
Good.
Expo,
well,
It was good.
we-
yeah,
yeah.
figured that was a great idea.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
They
I
did a
got as
nice
close
job.
as the pharmacy to getting here. Had a phone call, I had to go to Middletown.
I think working together with the Business Association has been very positive.
Yeah,
And I
more
think
people pushing the same rock.
we've really, I think in the past year, really worked hard, and I think we've developed a good working relationship, and I think we're seeing it paying off in things we're doing. So I think that's been really, really good, and I think that when we can team up with others, it makes a big difference in what you can offer and what you can do. And I think that's what we've been trying to do, is
Yeah,
to see who we can.
borrow from what works in other towns as well.
Yep,
That's what
yep,
we're
and
doing
keep
as
that-
a regional agency. We just share, oh, the Norwich is doing this, try
Yeah.
this, New London.
Yep. And if somebody has a good idea, it might be a good idea for us too. And so I think
Absolutely.
it's really great. Thank you. I appreciate you coming in. All right, we just have one other item, and that is the schedule of meetings for next year.
And then you.
I just want to make a couple of changes, the ones that are obviously in yellow here. The July 4th, we'd make that July the 11th. September the 5th, we'll make that September the 12th. And January the 2nd, we'll make that January the 9th. 2020. If there's, is everybody okay with the time? Everybody still like the 7 o'clock time frame, all right? And I think that if we go with these dates, is that okay with everybody around the table? If we promote, because this is what be our regular meeting, so this will be what we're gonna use for next year.
I motion that we, change the schedule to the dates as noted by Bob on the, for the
the-
upcoming
our-
years.
Our meeting
schedule?
Our meeting schedule for
Yeah.
2019,
Correct.
all right. Have a second for that?
Second?
Second, all right. If there isn't any other changes or thoughts, I move that, a vote for this. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and so that will be our schedule. Sharon, could you make that up and send that over to Deb? So that she has that, because if we don't get that over by the 1st of December, then our meetings end up being special meetings, and so we'd like to get that all on, so then everything's just a regular meeting. All right, anybody have anything else they'd like to bring before the board?
Yep, Irene's 12
Holiday
doors.
door.
Oh, gosh, yes, okay, excuse me. I had it written down here.
All right, I'll do it really quick because it's really late. The holiday doors update, I had a meeting with Louis Balfour just the other day, yesterday. Was yesterday Halloween? Yes. Long time ago. Been a long day. They're all in as far as, joining in and being part of the holiday door celebration this year. However, they're not, they apparently take 2 weeks off vacation in December, January time, so that they're flat out, they're not available to, they'd be happy to talk to us about anything that we want, for free consulting and all that, but they can't be putting together the advertising and all that kind of stuff, so we're on our own. So that's disappointing, but it is what it is, and, what we've done, because we had a meeting with them earlier in the year about the whole holiday door thing, is that they had suggested that last year, the holiday door thing came together very quickly, last minute, but there were a lot of different events throughout December into ending on January 1st for the culmination of the New Year's hike. So they suggested that if we can cram them into, one day or more events in one day, you might get more people out to, celebrate this stuff.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think there is one time when we want it to be zeroed in.
Concise, yeah.
Because, gosh, if you got a good day, I mean, then you're really, you're in good shape there.
So what I did was Saturday, December 1st, would be holidays in Moodis, and that's when they do the Stuff a Cruiser with the police officers, Knife to 4, and also we do some kind of holiday stroll with the EDC, EHBA working together for the businesses in Moodis, and then we culminate that day with the tree lighting in Moodis. The other thing we tried to do was to get the Children's Day in Moodis moved to that day. So if the guys are picking up all the toys throughout the day, and then if we could get them to come in at like 3 and then culminate their, Moodis children's thing and have them end at 4 or 5, then that would tie into the tree lighting and it would be over and, people would be in and out of Moodis all day long, which would be really cool.
Yep.
However, the Children's Night in Moodis said that, because there's too many people involved in that one and they don't want to move it from the Wednesday night, the first Wednesday of December. So I'm going to have one last chat with them just to see if, I can tell them how it would move and how it would work. But we'll
Are
see.
we open to moving Saturday, December 1st to Wednesday, December 5th?
We could, except the Stuff a Cruiser goes kind of all day.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you want to do it around that, because that's quite
The
noticeable.
Right.
The lights
Yeah.
are running, you've
Yeah.
got to cover several cruisers around there. It's so noticeable.
Right.
that,
And the other thing we're gonna do is, obviously, I'm gonna check in with our selectmen, but to check and see if we can do something here at Town Hall, because Mike said even if they move the Children's Night on the Green to, keep it on Wednesday, he will do something else that day, which means one of the things that we also talked about was doing some kind of hayride, or, some kind of Santa hayride that goes back and forth between, Moodis,
through the
Plaza,
green.
and down through the municipal building and back up, and that way you kind of get that flow going back and forth throughout the day.
And you will be going by the green.
Yep, we go by
So-
the green, and so we can try and tie it in to where something's going on all day long there. So that's what we're gonna try and do. So we're still working on that day. The following Saturday, I have one more check with Goodspeed, because I have to check and make sure that they are definitely done with the show. They are not extending it. As long as they don't extend the show, Saturday, December 7th, there is no Goodspeed show. So therefore, that night would be Christmas in the Village. And that's gonna be fabulous, because that morning is the cookie swap at St. Bridget's, or at St. Stephen's, excuse me. The pancake breakfast is down at the VFW, which is fine. The Lions Christmas auction, they have moved their culminating night from Friday night to Saturday night. So it's gonna be going on that same day. And then when the cookie swap is over, they're gonna change it over real quick, and it's gonna turn into a Christmas shopping bazaar, where we're gonna get all the inside businesses and craft people they're gonna come in, and they're gonna all do tables so that people can actually shop
Where is that
at
gonna
night
happen?
in St. Stephen's in
Okay.
their town thing.
Wow.
So at night,
From cookie swap to that, they're gonna do it all in one day, that's
yeah,
quick.
we're gonna do all that one day, and then we'll have the luminaries, and we're gonna have the carriage rides and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the plan. We're gonna try and see if we can get some carolers strolling around. And again, the Lions auction is gonna be going right across the street from St. Stephen's. So there's really gonna be quite the shopping, fun night in the Village.
Right?
So, and then also, just to piece this together, is I'm gonna check in with Brian Reese this year, have a conversation with him to say, can we set up doors to promote the Christmas concerts at the school? So we'll still have plenty of doors. We'll probably do a hike on New Year's Day. And so all of those things will still
Yeah,
be
Friends is having
in
that.
place.
Friends
And we
is-
might actually be able to put a door over by Gillette if we're doing the shop local thing too. So maybe
Yeah.
we can put that on the list too. So it's
Yeah.
still coming together, but part of what the holiday doors is, and the 12 doors years ago, is just to say that there's so much going on in our town for the holidays,
Yep.
and we should all enjoy them. But if we're gonna have 2 days where we're gonna have, concentrated events, those are the 2 days. It's the
Yep.
1st and the 7th.
Well, and,
So that's where
Fine.
we're at.
and now that this year they're doing the tour of the up at the castle,
Mhm.
it'll be open on those weekends, so those will be busy weekends with people in town for that, because it's the weekend prior to that, and then it's 2 weekends past is when that's gonna
So
run.
there is a weekend in November that they're gonna have
It's
the
the-
castle open?
Yeah, it's the first, it opens
It'll be Thanksgiving weekend.
the weekend right after Thanksgiving,
Oh, right after Thanksgiving.
yeah, is what I believe is,
Okay.
it is. And again, that's something that tie into this kind of,
Yeah.
but yet.
And one of these days, I think the senior center has a thing, right? I think the
Somewhere
senior
along.
center, yeah, I'm not sure which day. It could be the 1st, which would be good,
Yep.
Mhm.
because it would be in Moodus. So I wanna say, I think I just saw it. I'll have to check. I get the updates from senior center.
Hey, did you say the
But-
Lions Club is having an auction?
Lions Club every year does, the Community Lions, they do their, where they, get donations of either wreaths or trees that are
Trees.
decorated, and they go into the library, and throughout the
At the
season,
library?
yep, and they, you bid on them, it's a silent auction thing, and then they end it with this culminating, I guess, where that's it, that's the final bidding night, and they have wine and cheese, and it's a lovely event, and they usually have it on Friday,
Inside or
that first
outside?
weekend.
Inside or outside?
Inside.
It's
It's like
because they're
small
usually
table
just
drop.
small
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah, and some of them, sometimes they're gingerbread houses, and
Yeah.
sometimes they're wreaths, and sometimes they're just, like floral baskets or floral arrangements, and like I said, people go in and they bid on them, and you get them early in the season, because then you get to take them
Right.
home and use them in your,
Decoration.
It makes the library look
Yeah.
pretty good.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So I think those things show up pretty soon,
Mm-hmm.
like sometime in November, that's when they start putting them out, and that's when they open their auction.
So, and since we're supposed to, with the EDC and the HBA, we're supposed to decorate the visitor center is what our room is. Which is good because it's big and it's large. Everybody will go through it because they have to go there to buy their ticket.
You know what we should do is we should hang some of those guides on the tree too.
Yeah, well, they've got the racks on the wall and we get the racks. So all the businesses and everything can put anything they want in the racks, including our guides. We're gonna do wrap packages with business names on it, big boxes, so that we
Did
fill
we
up a
pick
lot
the
of space.
night that we're going to do that?
That's the thing is we have to do it between, we can do tomorrow, Sunday, and then I can let them know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Tuesday's election night, so that's a bad night for
I'm busy.
everybody. Thursday, we just have the, Board of Finance with the Chatham Health. So that leaves us like Wednesday, and, when I talked to Wendy, she said that we could get in later in the evening. She said that, if a group of us want to do it in the afternoon, that's great, but she has the keys and she can get us in, so if it's better for people to do it in early evening after work. And, we put out a thing today, they're putting out a thing asking for donations of boxes, wrapping paper and ribbons. And if you have a door, that would be awesome, because in there, to put like in wherever we're at the corner, we're hoping that somebody has an artificial tree, but to put the door
Yeah,
and the things, and then you can put maybe we can put your schedule on a chalkboard or something so that it's up there with the door, so the people that go through that, like, can also see that and tie that to that.
So the piece that's gonna have to be designed for this, I can do it. That's not a problem, I can do that.
And also,
We just need some printing money. The wreaths, here's $200 toward the wreaths.
okay,
Because we're doing this holiday door thing now through the EDC.
Yep.
We're collecting money for the wreaths, so if anybody, like we did last year when we, donated for the wreaths, we're actually gonna get fake wreaths this year so that we can use them year after year after year. And it was $40 for a pole last year because each wreath cost us $20 between the wreath and the bow.
Yep.
So this year it's gonna cost us a whole lot less. We're gonna buy these wreaths from Walmart, we're gonna get plastic bows, but then they're gonna be, somewhat durable enough that they'll go from year to year.
and I
It's
had,
only gonna be $25 per pole this year, so it's a lot less expensive. So we're starting to get the word out and collect from people who are interested and who have donated last year. I have last year's list. But here's the first 200 because we have to go buy the wreaths before they run out.
okay, well, here's
So
the,
there's the first-
here's the,
okay,
here's
that,
the,
that,
here's
that
the-
goes, basically, I've talked to Cindy on this.
Yep.
And so this is gonna go into a special fund
Okay,
that is basically earmarked for EDC for the holiday stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that, so there's gonna be a separate fund for
and
those
just so you
monies.
guys know, the caveat was thrown at me today that, okay, why are you saying dollar store and Walmart when we're trying to say shop local? So they're saying, let's talk to our vendors in town and see if somebody can order them, not from their retail, but wholesale order for us, like EMPM, the pharmacy, Scheiberg, if somebody can order us wrapping paper, ribbon, bows, wreaths, so that we don't go out of town with the shop local. And when they said that to me, I was like, oh my God, that's really yeah, where did you do your shop local?
Wait a minute,
Dollar
did
store.
they say Dollar General? Was that?
No, but they were like, and they said it respectfully, Sue. Really? And I was like, oh my God.
she was just kidding.
It was like, so I mean, really and stuff. I mean, yeah, please shop local. Let us do this big push. Where'd you buy all your stuff? Oh, down the hill. So I'm gonna have that conversation or try and have it with some of those folks tomorrow
Yep.
and see if I can get somebody. If I can't, then we really have no choice.
Exactly.
But I will approach everyone
I was
first.
gonna say, let's see if we can't,
And the
let's-
same with the wreaths. I'll see if I can get, what do you want, 9-inch artificial
No, we're
wreaths?
getting
24
24 inch.
Okay.
24.
So I can just, yeah,
and
And
then
the red
plastic
velvet-
bows. Not
no, the
velvet, because
plastic,
that gets- that
okay.
won't work in the rain.
24-inch
So the
wreaths,
plastic bows will
plastic bows. And how many do you need?
48.
48.
48 of them? What did they go in? Are these poles out here? Is that where they go?
They don't go on the town hall ones, they go on the street.
Yeah, on the street.
Street and around, and then down on Joe Williams, right? Yeah. I
No,
always
it
get
must be,
William-
it must be
William
Palmer Road, right?
Palmer Road?
Yeah, Palmer's over
Where
where the
the-
bank is and
Yes.
that's Palmer.
Yeah, I told you I get.
Okay.
Joe Williams is the other one.
Alright.
I always get better.
And I'm not looking for anybody to give it to us. I'm looking for them just to buy it for us for wholesale.
Well,
So
they
Right,
can get
exactly.
it, I mean, we have a price of $4.44 per wreath
Wow,
444.
444?
for a 24-inch fake wreath.
Wow, that's a good price.
Like I say, we'll see.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
And
mean,
that's not Dollar
again,
General, just so you know.
so, but that was an embarrassing conversation. I gotta tell you, I was like,
I got a kick out when I saw all those responses. There was a whole bunch of them
yeah,
coming.
like Sue.
The computer was lighting up after that one. All right, anything else that we should?
So I'm just hoping that maybe there's some EDC money to help with printing and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know where we'll be at there, but.
And I'll push them to
Inserting it in the
see what my
paper.
bill is, because that's where the extra money's gonna come from.
Right, right.
Whatever.
That's where it'll be, and then I can see what the balance is.
Yeah, and if you have.
Because the other thing is Sue and I are gonna talk about it tonight, but we need to figure, I cannot pay for the carriage rides again.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So we need to get somebody to help us pay for that, so.
yeah. Okay.
And then,
So we're gonna try and
I was
maybe
gonna say,
see
see-
if somebody can do this, just sponsor it,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
carriage rides for that night. So
Okay.
we're gonna reach out to a couple ideas we have.
and then Wendy suggested to me there's a program at the high school that they get intern and they design and they do work and then they get paid for it. And she said you would know about it, the project, but they may be,
FFA, you mean? For the wreaths?
no, for
Oh.
the design work and for that, if you,
Oh,
Because you're a busy woman, so,
Well, I mean, I can check in with Deb Bat and see what
yeah,
she's
that's
got.
the name
That's
she
the
gave
name
me.
okay.
Yeah, so she said, Irene would know this, and so, I'm like, okay.
Do you have any idea what kind of money we're talking about for the printing?
I have no idea, but 500 double-sided flyers at Staples cost 500.
Right. So,
But I don't know if we need, well, I mean, what we could do is we could insert it in the newspaper. And that's $250 plus the cost of flyers. We could check and see what Greg will give us for the
printing?
flyer cost there. 'Cause I
Well,
think
are we
it's less
doing,
than
are we
Staples.
doing this size?
I would think,
500 copies is like just buy ink for somebody for their copier.
yeah.
And just run them on your copy machine. I mean, I easily do 500 a week on my personal machine. Just pay for,
Two-sided?
yeah, I got a two-sided
You
copier.
got two-sided?
Just pay somebody for a cartridge,
Yeah,
you know, and then we're gonna spend $60.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
all right. Well, I can get back to you on that.
Okay,
just 'cause-
all right, yeah, let's see
figure
what
out
it would be,
how
and
we
then,
do
is that way we wanna do it? Do we wanna get them into the paper and put them out that way? I don't know how else you're gonna get that kind of distribution.
Yeah, between the paper and,
and I'd do it as an ad in the
social
paper
media.
and then social media.
But if you put this in the paper, you're talking about 5,000 copies.
No, yeah, but I'm saying do it as an ad in the paper, not
We
as
did it as an
necessary.
ad.
And instead of a
Sheets.
a sheet, yeah, and do the sheets, pass them out at the businesses and hand them
So
out
do
that way.
500 worth of sheets and then do an ad in the paper.
And
I
do an
wonder
ad
if
in
we
the
know
paper.
somebody at the paper and they can do it on like a side that'll be a pullout almost, that they could actually take it with them, you know what I mean?
Like the centerpiece.
That's what worked on the train. I think that was so good,
Yeah.
having something you could walk around with
Yeah.
and have in your hand. That,
Yeah, I mean, if we put like, a dotted line around the ad,
yeah,
if it was a half a page, then people would, cut it out and
and have it.
take it with them,
Mhm.
possibly.
Well,
Or hang it on the fridge so that they know that this is the event.
uh,
Well, and if you do it so that it's in the layout pie, so it's in that centerpiece, so that it,
The other thing we were talking about is try and figure out a way to get people to go around to the businesses, and we were thinking about like a passbook kind of thing, but then that's gonna be more costs. So,
we're gonna try that next year with Fall Fest for Moodus, cause that was one of the issues, so.
Yeah.
all right, if you
All right,
could
so
get
we're
back to us on what money
more
might
stuff.
be, and then if we can get that bill from basically the fall weekend, we'll see if whatever money is left.
You have a connection with the guy at Rare Reminders, Greg?
Mhm.
He's who I'm waiting for, so,
Oh, for what?
the bill. Julia hasn't gotten a bill, nobody's gotten a bill yet, supposedly it's all settled up with the newspaper, we haven't gotten a bill, nobody's given me a bit, will give me a bill. And I'm at the point where I'm like, is this gratis?
Who would have,
Greg Barden,
no, but who would have had to
Emily-
pay the bill?
it would've gone to Julia Balfour, and then they would bill me,
Yeah, it was gonna go through Julie, but I didn't,
Just as a debt.
I didn't see
and it
that.
should've gone
I-
through the whole
I have not
newspaper.
seen that bill.
I haven't seen it.
All right, we'll find out about
check.
that, and that way we'll see if we can get that bill from Julia, because obviously she's gotta get that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that, and then from there, we'll take and see if there's any money left. There's not gonna be
That's for the Fall
much.
Fest, right?
That was from Fall Fest, yes. Okay, anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up?
And make a motion, we adjourn.
Seconded.
I was gonna second that one. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, wanna stay here? Not many, huh? No, don't hear any nays. All right,
We'll be here for next Wednesday's meeting.
yes.